Cavalry in Napoleonic warfare. On the battlefields of Napoleonic Europe, the cavalry were more than just a weapon. They were the scalpel, the hammer, and the vanguard of the army. To Napoleon, cavalry were not just support troops. They were the instruments of his decision-making. They were the force that could turn a stalemate into a crushing victory or a retreat into a routed disaster for the enemy. Their role was multifaceted, and their value lay as much in their speed and flexibility as in their raw striking power. First and foremost, they were the eyes of the Grand Armée. Long before the battle began, light cavalry units like the hussars and chasseurs à cheval were sent ahead, fanning out across the countryside to find the enemy. They moved fast and lived off the land, their keen eyes scanning for dust clouds on the horizon, their ears tuned for the distant clatter of wagons. It was the cavalry who brought Napoleon the intelligence that he needed to strike: an enemy's location, the condition of their troops, and the weakness of their line. They were also the screen. Cavalry covered Napoleon's movements, riding in a thin, restless line between his army and the enemy's scouts. Behind this living curtain, entire troops could shift position without the foe knowing until it was too late. Many of Napoleon's most famous surprise maneuvers, such as his encircling marches, were possible only because the cavalry masked his intentions until the decisive moment. And then came their most feared role: shock action. At the right moment, often when the enemy line was faltering but not yet broken, Napoleon would unleash his heavy cavalry. This was the killing blow, the moment when armored cuirassiers or dragoons thundered forward in tight formation, sabers down, to smash into the wavering foe. The effect was psychological as much as physical. Men who might hold the line against infantry fire would crumble and run when faced with a wall of charging horsemen. When victory was achieved, the cavalry became a hand of pursuit. Infantry might claim the field, but it was the cavalry who ensured the victory was complete. They hunted down the fleeing soldiers, scattering them into the countryside, capturing baggage trains, and preventing the enemy from regrouping. Without this pursuit, many of Napoleon's battles might have ended merely as tactical success instead of decisive triumphs. Even in defeat, the cavalry played their part, serving as the shield of retreat. In the chaos of withdrawal, they would form rearguards, riding repeated delaying actions to buy precious time for the infantry and artillery to fall back. Many a French army owed its survival to these desperate rearward charges. Napoleon himself understood their value perfectly. Without cavalry, he declared, battles are without result. He treated them not as mere accessories to his infantry and artillery, but as an equal arm of decision. And under his command, they proved again and again that in the right hands, cavalry could be the decisive factor in a modern battle, even in an age increasingly ruled by gunpowder. The cavalry's role was never static. In one battle, they might serve as elusive shadows, harassing the enemy's flanks and masking the emperor's plans. In another, they would appear like a thunderstorm on the horizon, crashing down a single devastating blow and sweeping the field clean. They were not simply an arm of the army. They were the soul of maneuver warfare.